Hey y'all, Iric Sky here, and I've got the Parrot ANAFI, and a question that a lot of people, including myself, had before purchasing the Parrot ANAFI was, does it feel like a toy? Is it going to feel like a toy like the previous? And there's varying opinions about this, but my assumption, my personal opinion is that the Parrot Bebop feels more like a toy than a tool. But I'm happy to say after, and again, at the time of filming this video, I've only had 2 days in the field with it. But after having 2 days in the field with the ANAFI, I mean, I can comment about the build quality. And I will say, yeah, this material, you can see it right there, this material does feel kind of plasticky. It feels kind of toy grade-ish. But I'm not going to go as far as to say it's a toy. Because actually, the design of this, how it's long and narrow, and I want to point out again, what's so nice is how that camera, when these front legs are folded, how it's kind of nestled in there. And it does come with a lens cap, and that was a minor gripe that I had within previous videos, is that and actually I took it out so I wouldn't lose it in the grass, but it's just super small and it's black and it would be easy to lose. And I got to thinking about it. And with this camera nestled among the front two landing gear, I mean, there's probably going to be more dust and bugs and all that during flight than this will encounter when it's inside of the case. So for that reason, I've opted to not use the included lens cap. But yeah, the build quality, when you open this, it does have a good tactile feel. Makes a little snap when the legs open. I don't know if you can hear that within this video. Snap sound. So it's got a good feel to it. It definitely feels like something that if you were, and again, I take care of all my electronics. I handle them very gently. But if you were the type person that has a tendency to be, if you're the type person that has a tendency to be rough when you're playing with electronics and that sort of stuff, you may find the build quality of this to not be as sturdy as something like a Mavic Air. And I'm by no means bashing the Parrot by saying that. But aside from the build quality of the drone's body itself, these propellers feel very flimsy. With that being said, I have not had any encounters yet, or any issues yet. I have not encountered any issues yet, rather, with the propellers. I haven't crashed it or anything. I have made contact with some tall blades of grass, and that's something worth mentioning. You know, you're definitely going to want to use a landing pad or a hard and flat surface when you're launching and landing the Parrot ANAFI. But the advantage to these propellers is that they don't make a lot of noise. And back to the toy comment, you know, the theme of this video, does this look like a toy? Does it feel like a toy? Now, obviously, it's not a toy, it's an aircraft. And someone should be very responsible when they're operating this aircraft. It's not a toy. But for the casual observer that may not be that familiar with drones, if they saw somebody out with this, you know, enjoying the fun and rewarding hobby of flying drones, if they saw somebody out in the field with this, they may just assume it's a toy. So from that perspective, I think that the toy-like appearance of the Parrot ANAFI is actually a positive. And I say that because this is kind of a fly under the radar kind of drone. So, you know, let's say, for example, let's think of something here. Okay, here's a good analogy. So let's say that you wear, like expensive watches or something like that, and you know that you're going to be in a very bad country. You know, you're going to a country, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of muggings, there's a lot of murders. You know, it may be in your best interest when you're in that country to not wear a nice watch or anything, you know, to kind of, dress down and look very, just, I mean, for lack of a better word, just try to look broke, and try not to stand out. So, like that example, the Parrot ANAFI is kind of a fly under the radar kind of drone. I could take this out in a safe and responsible location, be around a lot of people, and aside from the cool factor I'm not necessarily going to draw a lot of attention to myself. I mean, this just, it looks like a toy. And, you know, by looking like a toy, it's kind of again, a fly under the radar type of drone. You know, I could take this out, have a good time with it, and potentially not attract all of the anti-drone people that see a phantom or something that's perceived as big. Oh, that's scary. Ooh, that's a big drone. I'm scared. You know, those types of people. Whereas those types of people, they saw this, they would probably assume that it's just somebody with a toy. And that's a win. But I will tell you, for that reason, I like the build quality. Now there's something I don't really care about, and Parrot's come a long way. If you've ever messed with the Parrot Bebop, you know that Parrot Bebop, the battery on and off was kind of, it just felt like an afterthought. I mean, it was, you know, you had that little Velcro strap after you put the battery on. It's kind of like, I don't know, I still laugh about that. This actually mounts and has a good tactile feel. The one major gripe that I do have is the micro SD card under there. The way in which this micro SD card mounts, although it stays in place, I feel that they could have greatly improved the design of the micro SD card holder. With that being said, the fact that it doesn't have an eject mechanism, you know, that's something with not just isolated to drones, but any sort of device that has a micro SD card slot. Have you ever had the ejection mechanism fail? Well, if it does, you're stuck with the card in the device or stuck with the card outside of the device. So, you know, that could be an advantage to the way that could be a good thing about how they design this. So, you know, the build quality, it feels, I'm not going to say it feels rugged, and I'm definitely not going to say it feels cheap. But I will say, if you've been shopping for drones, and again, check the link within this video's description, you can find where to order the Parrot ANAFI and other drones too, not just the Parrot ANAFI. But if you, oh, look at that, I put it on, I didn't lock it in properly. That was my own fault. So when you put this down, you're going to want to make sure it's flush, and then I just gently push right, I don't touch the camera obviously, but I push that flat piece right there. And now you can see it's flush. But it, you know, if you've been handling something like the Mavic Air, just because of the build quality, the cosmetic appearance, the weight, you know, when you're holding a Mavic Air, the perception is probably going to be that the Mavic Air is a better built and a more professional drone. However, back to the fly under the radar analogy that I made earlier about, you know, trying to blend in when you're in a sketchy country, in a sketchy area in a sketchy country, where you may get mugged or murdered or something. Back to that analogy, that's what makes this drone so cool, is that it just looks, it seems to be a toy, but it's not a toy. And the video that I've been able to capture with this, not just the image quality, but also the saturation looks good. It is a little bit warm. I'm going to have to play around with the video. The video looks warm in comparison to Mavic Air, but the HDR, the high dynamic range, is incredible. And the stability and the battery life, I mean, this thing is a winner. And again, I've not had the hundreds of flights with this like I had my Mavic Air, but this is a winner. And you know, the thing that's the biggest win is that little USB-C port on the back. See right there? The little USB-C port. And that's such a win because I can take this battery off. I can stick this into stick a USB-C cable into it, plug it into a charger, and I can charge my battery while it's not attached to the drone. So imagine I have multiple batteries. If I've got multiple places to plug in USB-C cable for charging, I can charge multiple batteries at the same time, and that is a huge win. Now, that is my favorite aspect of this drone. That and the high dynamic range. I mean, don't allow yourself to discredit Parrot because of how this looks and how it may feel. If you pick it up, oh man, that feels like a toy. Oh, that looks like a toy. Oh, I remember those drones that Parrot put out in the past, those bebops. They were toys. They looked like toys. They felt like toys. They performed like toys. Now, the bebop did. The bebop did not have the outstanding video quality, the outstanding video stability. Parrot's done something right with this. And, you know, a lot of people have accused me, and it's fine that you have, and I can understand how people may jump to that assumption, but a lot of people have accused me as being a DJI fanboy, and I'm not. It just happens that DJI drones have been my favorite drones. But this drone is something that's come out of the woodwork. GoPro couldn't do it. There's a lot of other companies that have popped up and have failed. Nobody has been able to produce a product that has been able to come close to competing with DJI. And I think that this is the product. So what this will hopefully do is cause competitors, DJI, to maybe integrate USB-C recharging capabilities into their devices, so you don't have to buy the more expensive aftermarket charging accessories. To be able to integrate a camera that can not only look down but can look up, and also has zoom. I mean, this thing is full of features, and it is and I like how it's easy to fold. I mean, the Mavic Air is easy to fold, but if you've only folded the Mavic Air a few times, you've got to remember in your mind, okay, am I closing it or am I opening it? Because depending upon what you're doing with the Mavic Air, there's a different sequence. The Parrot ANAFI just doesn't care. I mean, I can fold the front first, I can fold the rear first. It just works. There's a lot of design, a lot of R&D that seems to have gone into this, and it seems like Parrot really, they may have sat down, and I can only imagine the conversation. So I'm just going to reenact what I feel may have happened. So there's always Parrot people, and they're speaking French because they're a French company, and I can't speak French, but I love French food. And so all these French people went into this room, and they're like, hey guys, you got DJI, and they got this drone. Well, they got several drones. And now they've got this drone that's smaller than the smaller drone. And then there's another drone that's even smaller. And then there's a third party that sells through DJI, and it's smaller than all of them. What have we got to do? And they sat in that room, and they probably ate some really good French food. And they said, well, how about we abandon the Parrot Bebop platform? And how about we produce a Parrot that people, like our Guys Adventure Channel, will be interested in? And maybe that's how it happened. They're just like, we'll put something together. And I will say there's a lot of thought that's gone into this. And again, my best advice, don't listen to the haters that are online that are saying, man, that's a toy drone. It's cheap. Look how cheap those propellers are. Rah, rah, rah. No. Pick one up and fly it and see what you think. And I mean, look at this case. Look at how that goes in there. And this is something I've become more comfortable with, folding those propellers back so it can go in the case properly. Very nice case that it came with. Obviously not waterproof or ruggedized, but it's longer than a Mavic Air case. But it's super lightweight, it's super small. It's got these straps on there. If you had a backpack or something, you could lash it to it. I mean, this thing is cool. This thing is cool. So don't allow the false perception of this just being a toy. Don't allow the false perception of that being the case to keep you away from it. Check the link within this video's description. You can find where to order the Parrot ANAFI and the accessories there. And stay tuned. I've got a lot more Parrot ANAFI videos coming soon. And again, without having the hundreds of flights that I've had with Mavic Air, I can't say that this is going to be better than Mavic Air. But what I can say is that it's completely captivated my attention. And after my first flight where I encountered problems that were my own problems, I had a bad iOS cable, I've really grown to love this. So tell me what you think. Be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. And again, check the link within this video's description or just go to epicdroneshow.com. And by the way, you can find my Epic Drone Show swag there too. So y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.